or welcome if you are new here. My name is May, also known as Miss Leva on YouTube, and I do all kinds of fashion, styling, luxury handbags, lifestyle, some travel outfits kind of videos. So if you are into that kind of thing, I would love for you to consider subscribing down below. Now for today's video, I did want to take some time to show you guys my small but mighty Louis Vuitton handbag collection. And I will be including all of my pieces from Louis Vuitton. Like I said, it is a fairly small collection, but I feel like I've added very classic, forever kind of pieces. I do my research before adding any type of luxury item into my collection. That is actually one of the main reasons why I decided to start my channel, because I wanted to provide that review, that help for those that do their research as well whenever they're gonna do any type of luxury shopping. So thanks to all the research that I have done over the years, I've been able to add really key classic pieces from the fashion house. Louis Vuitton was definitely my first luxury love, and I am very happy that I have been able to add certain pieces from the fashion house. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I will be showing you the pieces in no particular order, just as I have them here besides me. I wanted to start off with what I think is, well actually it's not the smallest piece, but one of the smallest pieces in my collection. And that is my Louis Vuitton card holder, and this one in particular is in the reverse monogram, as you can see. I did add her, I want to say about 2 years ago. I know we were on a trip to Vegas, and I actually just walked into the Louis Vuitton store in the Bellagio, and I was like, I'm gonna ask for it. It was during that time that she had just actually come out, so she was very popular. And to my luck, the sales associate was like, I actually have one. I was like, oh great. So of course I couldn't pass her up. You guys know how difficult it is to come across canvas pieces nowadays. So I've come to the conclusion that if I really want a canvas piece, if I walk into a store and ask for it and they have it, I have to add it, because not only is it going to be impossible to find the more time I wait, but long term, if I do decide to sell the piece for whatever reason, I know that it will definitely go up in value as well. But anyways, that's besides the point. So this is my card holder from Louis Vuitton. It is actually the only card holder that I own from the fashion house, but I feel like this is such a cute card holder to have in my collection. I've gotten into card holders and smaller wallets over the years, so I don't gravitate to larger wallets anymore. And this one really just holds a ton. It only has 3 slip pockets, but you could actually double up and even put 3 cards on each slot, and then also put a lot in here as well. And she's held up really nicely, I gotta say. So I'm just glad that I was able to walk in that day and that the sales associate actually had one in stock. Now moving on to what I consider my smallest piece, and that is this little Louis Vuitton. And that is this little Louis Vuitton Bandeau. Now I did add this one to add to another bag that I'll show later on, but I have used her in various ways. I actually have a video on my Instagram on different ways that you actually can use these little pieces, and I like to put them on my bags obviously, but also use them as headscarves or to decorate like a beach hat. I also like to wear it on my wrist. There's different ways that you could really play around with these items and style it, and I really like that. This one in particular is this really nice baby pink color, and I feel like it's a really nice touch to my Louis Vuitton handbags. I feel like whether it's the damier ebene print or the monogram print, it blends really nicely. But aside from that, I have nothing else to say besides it's just a cute piece to add to your handbags or to your style overall. Now we will get into the Rosalie wallet, which is also part of my Louis Vuitton collection, and I won't get too into it because I recently just did a review video on this piece, so I'll make sure to link that down below for you guys. But I love this wallet. It's just so versatile. It's really comfortable to use. It fits in almost all of my handbags, and that's one thing that I love. I could really just grab and move it from one handbag to the other with very much ease. I don't have to be taking out things in order to not make it so bulky or so on and so forth. So I really feel like this is the perfect wallet in my opinion whether you like to carry just a couple of things or whether you like to carry a couple of cards. In that video, I show how many cards you can fit inside, and I personally was totally surprised. So I just cannot say enough great things about this wallet. It does come in a couple of prints as well, but I personally love it in the damier ebene with the small pink touches that it offers. And like I said, it's got to be one of my most favorite wallets, and it's coming to be one of my most used up to date. So from the Louis Vuitton collection that I've acquired over the years, there are definitely a couple of forever pieces, and this one is definitely one of those. And that is my mini pochette in the limited animation edition, and this one was for 2019. Guys, this piece, well, in the review that I do, I share the whole story, but it was the funniest thing in order to get, but I was able to get it. Actually, my husband was able to get it for me, so he gifted it for me for that Christmas. And this piece is just so beautiful. I really just love, obviously, the Paris background that it has. It has little Vivienne there with a little Alma. Paris has a huge and a very special place in my heart. So for that reason, I knew that if I added any limited edition piece to my collection, this one had to be it. And I didn't have any mini pochettes in my collection at that point, so I'm really glad that I was able to obtain this one. After that, I did decide that I would love to be able to add the Monogram and the damier mini pochette into my collection, just for like collection's sake. I really love the pouches. I'm like a total crazy pouch lady, but overall I really do feel like the mini pochettes are just such a cute piece to have in your collection. However, the price at this point in time just is too much for me, in my personal opinion. I don't think they're worth it at that price. I think you can find a ton of different other pouches in order to stick makeup, pills, whatever it is that you might use a pouch for, but to each their own. So I personally, as of right now, will not be adding any more to my collection, but I am very happy that I do have this limited edition piece. Now, continuing on with the limited edition items, these are no longer available. They have since then been discontinued. I did recently see a new type of style coming out, so I'll try to see if I can insert a picture. I know it's from someone that I follow on Instagram, so I'll make sure to give them the credit that they deserve down below. But I'm talking about the toiletry pouches. Now, I personally and thankfully have all three of them, and I am so happy to have them in my collection. Honestly, I feel like my travel organization is so much better now that I have these pieces in my collection. I love the matchy moment that they offer, and I ultimately really enjoy using them not only as the toiletries that they are, but also as either clutches or handbags. We all know that what I feel like is the reason why they discontinued them to begin with was because people were actually turning these pieces into handbags. And for the price point that they were running at about high 500s to mid 500s, maybe the fashion house just thought that it wasn't worth having those pieces out when people were considering them to be as handbags. I mean, who knows what the thought process is behind these fashion houses and why they get rid of such iconic classic pieces, but I digressed. I got carried away. Back to these cutie. I was lucky enough to be able to add them last year into my collection, and funny enough, I actually added all three of them kind of back to back when the whole craze of them being discontinued started. So I am currently using the 15. I trade between this one and the mini pochette as my catch-all in my handbags, and then I definitely stick with the 19 and the 26 as travel pieces. Now we're gonna get into the last handbag that I added from Louis Vuitton into my collection, and that is none other than the special Speedy V25 in the damier ebene. I feel like every time I bring her out, I have to do like a disclaimer that I won't get too into this handbag because I have gotten into it a whole ton of other times. So I will make sure to keep it short and simple. I love this bag. It's my favorite bag. It's a forever bag. It's the bag that I will repurchase if I don't have her for any reason. So she is definitely a great addition to any collection, in my opinion. If you can only buy one bag from the fashion house, this is it. I mean, I can go on and on, like I've mentioned, but aside from all of that, I'm just very happy that I do have her in my collection. I use her a ton, and she's held up pretty well. I did notice recently that the hardware here on the D-rings on their sides are beat up. I do know that a lot of people talk about that, and for some reason I thought that it was just their bag. It's not. Mine is definitely part of that bunch. I'm gonna try to bring it up to you to see if you can see there. So they are like totally chipped and just really worn overall. Here's the other one. I won't be pointing with my fingers because my nails are so horrible at the moment. I have an appointment tomorrow, I can't wait. So it's just really, that is the major wear that I see from the handbag. But I had heard about that going into purchasing it. I was hoping that it was just theirs and it wouldn't happen to mine. It happened to mine. It doesn't bother me. It's part of the bag. I know I've used the bag a ton, so I guess it's just part of the wear. But besides that, everything else is in perfect condition. I mean, there is no cracking on the canvas. The glazing is in perfect, like brand new condition. Everything else is really well. It's just the hardware, which once again, I had been made aware of. I just wanted to believe that it wouldn't happen to mine, but it's definitely a Speedy thing, I think. So just keep an eye out for that. But if that doesn't bother you, that you know the bag has its wear over time, then I would highly recommend you considering adding this one to your collection. Now, before I continue, I did want to ask you if you have any of these handbags, or if you do have any Louis Vuitton handbags for that matter. I would love for you to let me know down below how you like it, how you don't like it, how it's worn, what you use it for. I love chatting with you guys. Anything related to do with handbag, fashion, styling, all that good stuff. And if you are new here watching this video for the first time, I would love for you to consider subscribing down below. I do really appreciate all of your support. I have a ton of viewers that come back and watch my videos but have not yet subscribed, so that would mean a world to me if you do consider to do so. Moving on to another forever piece on my Louis Vuitton collection, and that is my Pochette Metis in the canvas print. I love this bag. I think it's really such a unique bag from the fashion house, but I have to say, at first I was not a fan at all. I felt like it looked like a little doctor suitcase, which a lot of people say it does, and I was not drawn to it. But one day out of the blue, I was just scrolling through Instagram, and then a picture of a girl that I follow popped up, and she had it styled so nicely. It was just like over a cardigan with like a white t-shirt, and I was like, oh my god, look at that bag, how nicely it pops. And since then, the hunt for it began. I was able to add her back in 2018, so it's been almost 4 years. Now, I gotta say, it was a mission impossible in order to add this bag into my collection. Once again, another canvas piece, so I'm sure you are aware of how hard these are to come across. But as soon as I added her, I started using her, and I've never looked back since then. She's definitely loved. I gotta say, she has a ton of watermarks up here. I do live in Miami, so I've been caught in the rain a couple of times with her. And even though I try my best to take care of the vachetta, especially, the bandeau that I previously showed you was bought for this bag in particular. I wanted to wrap it around the handle just to care for it. There were times that I didn't want the bandeau, or it just didn't go with my outfit, so I would just remove it and wear the bag like so. And of course, during those times, it's when it rained. So it's gotten a couple of watermarks on her. It really doesn't bother me. I buy my bags to use them, and it's going back to the whole doing my research and making sure that I'm adding classic pieces to my collection that I know I can use day in and out. So for that reason, it does not bother me at all. It does have a little bit of cracking here on the glazing. It's one of the bags that has the most wear out of my entire Louis Vuitton collection. And I see why. I mean, this was my travel bag for so long. It would be the bag that I would take with me every time we traveled. I used her all the time for errands. I used her in the weekends a ton. Now I do have other small bags that I rotate between this one in particular and those, but even then the wear is definitely there. It's not something too major that I'm gonna have to put her to rest anytime soon, but she definitely has a little bit of wear to her, and that's just fine. It makes me happy to know that I've got her, I've used her, and I've definitely loved her. Now here we have my first ever luxury handbag in my collection, and it is none other than the Speedy from Louis Vuitton. This one in particular is in the size 35 in the damier band print, as you can see. And this is another forever bag, you guys. I not only love this bag just because of all the sentimental value that it has. It was bought by my husband on our first wedding anniversary in Paris, which we visited for the first time that year. You know, it's just, it's been through a lot. But it's also a bag that just has so much meaning behind it. You know, I was so happy to be able to add my first luxury piece from a fashion house that I had lusted over for so long. And that day, that experience, everything was just so special. If I have any pictures, I'll make sure to pop them up on the screen. It was a very long time ago. I think this bag actually turns 10 this year. So I'll try to find some. Don't judge the quality because of course it was not the best. So the Speedy 35 was my first handbag, and it will be a forever handbag for me. I don't use her as much anymore. I have mentioned this previously, but it is a very large handbag for my lifestyle at the moment. I gravitate a lot more to smaller handbags right now. So when I do grab her, it's more for like the office, if I need to take a laptop or just carry a few more things. And if not, I have used her maybe once or twice for travel. I've given that a shot. But then I got another piece that I will be sharing. So this one is not being used for travel anymore. No matter what, she will always remain in my collection, and I'm just so happy that I was able to add such a classic as my first luxury handbag when I started this whole journey. Now, as I mentioned, one of the reasons why I don't use the 35 for travel anymore is because I recently added the Keepall 45 in my collection. Same thing, damier band print. I think we totally see a trend going on here. Actually, let me know which is your favorite print from the fashion house. I would love to know which one you gravitate to or which one you love the most. So back to the Keepall 45. I love this piece. I've been using it nonstop for all of our travels. It really helps out because I use it as my personal item, and I only take a carry-on when we travel, or at least I'm really trying to only take a carry-on. So the fact that I have this one to use as my personal item is perfect. The 45 is actually the largest size that you can take as your personal item. I do like it in the damier band print because I just feel like it's a lot more carefree, especially as a travel piece. And if you are going to consider getting a Keepall, I highly recommend you invest and get the Bandouliere option. If you are spending that kind of money already on such a piece, might as well just add a little bit more and get one that's not only versatile but super comfortable, because this piece can definitely get heavy. I won't get too much into it because I do have a review video that I want to film on this piece, but I love that I was able to add it to my collection, and I do think it's still worth the price point at the moment, especially if you travel often, because like I said, it does carry a good amount of items. And now last but not least, we do have my Neverfull, and this one is in the size and in the monogram canvas. So there we go for some variety. This is actually my second piece from Louis Vuitton, and I added her while we were visiting Prague in 2011. So I went in that day actually looking for a clutch, or that's the idea that I had in mind. I wanted something smaller that I could carry around while we were traveling and not have such a large bag. But at that moment, when I went in and saw the prices of the clutch, since I was still adding handbags, or starting basically to add to my collection, I knew that I was going to use this bag a lot more, and the difference was probably like $200. So for that reason, I added this one into my collection. This is the Neverfull that actually came with the small little pouch inside. However, I've ended up selling that pouch since then. For me, it just didn't make sense. It was very slim, and it would just fit things that I really just didn't need to be putting into that pouch. So I went ahead and got the money and put it to something else at that moment. But I have loved this bag. She definitely has some wear and tear to her. I mean, some of the tabs here have a little bit of markings on them. They've been scratched. The glazing has definitely worn off on these handles here. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but she's definitely, like I said, been used and very much loved. I actually consider selling her from time to time just because I don't gravitate to large bags as I used to before. And if I do consider to use it as a travel bag, I either gravitate towards the Keepall or the Speedy 35. I mostly just use her when I do go into the office. She is very comfortable to carry. The handles are very, very soft. She's almost 9 years, 8 years. And really, to be honest with you, I just don't want to sell any of my Louis Vuitton pieces, even though I consider to do so from time to time, because I'm very worried, one, that I won't be able to find the piece if I do regret it later on, and that I will regret selling her, and then it just will be so hard to come across anything in canvas for that matter. I feel like more and more the fashion house is leaning towards leather pieces, and they are so beautiful, but the price points are just skyrocketing to a point that in my opinion, I just don't want to spend that kind of money for what I'm getting. So for that reason, you know, I go back and I say, May, just hang on to her and just keep her in your collection of Louis Vuitton and reminisce on how many times you did use her when you would gravitate towards bigger bags. So that is it, you guys. That is my little Louis Vuitton collection. Like I said, I've added pieces that I really feel are so classic and go so well with my lifestyle, my style, personally, the way that I dress, the outfits that I put together. And since I did start with Louis Vuitton as my first luxury fashion house, I wanted to make sure that I was doing my research, that I was putting my money towards something that I knew I would use over and over again, and something that would be comfortable for me to incorporate on my day-to-day. So thank you again so much for taking the time to watch this video. I would love to hear what is your favorite Louis Vuitton piece or what is on your wish list that you would like to add. Don't forget to subscribe down below and give me a thumbs up. We are so close to the 1,000 subscribers, and that makes me so happy. Thank you again for taking some time out of your day to watch today, and I hope to catch you in my next one. Bye everyone.